So, you crave misery, do you? Very well. Let me regale you with the tale of how my dear sweet brother Tyrion, that dwarfish blight on our noble lineage, single-handedly ruined another perfectly good winter solstice. And it was the last one too, before the ravens brought whispers of war, and the stag's antlers dripped with Lannister blood. Little did we know it would be the last time Casterly Rock would truly feel like home. The last time we would celebrate as a family, untouched by the shadow of rebellion. Tyrion, of course, oblivious as ever, was far more concerned with his own petty amusements. It all started, as most of Tyrion's misfortunes do, with him being utterly insufferable. While the rest of us readied ourselves for our annual journey to King's Landing, Tyrion decided to enhance Jaime's appearance with some vile green concoction he'd brewed in the privy. Imagine a Lannister with green hair. Green. Jaime's glorious golden mane turned the colour of a bilious marsh frog. As if we were some hedge knight's brood. The sheer vulgarity of it sent servants scattering like cockroaches, Uncle Kevin choking back laughter, and Father, of course, erupting like a dragon awoken from slumber. He pounced on the vile little cretin, and Tyrion was banished to a draughty tower room, likely haunted by the ghosts of spurned handmaidens, far from civilized company. We departed at dawn, wagons creaking under holiday gifts, silks and jewels, and enough food to feed a Dothraki horde. But in the commotion, it seems we forgot the runt entirely. I assure you, I did not mourn this oversight, so off we went, leaving him to sulk in solitude, or so we thought, upon discovering he had been left the Lord of Casterly Rock in our stead. Did he pine for us? Did he wish with all of his stunted little heart that we'd return to collect him? Don't be absurd. Instead, that nasty whelp proceeded to do the most unseemly thing. He enjoyed himself. He strutted about in Father's grand cloak, issuing nonsensical orders to bewildered servants. He gorged on feasts of sweets and winter wine, enough to intoxicate a small village. He turned our ancestral home, the seat of Lannister power, into his personal playground. He sang off-key carols in the Great Hall, imagining himself some grand hero. Him, a hero? Tyrion? Really? He even hung a pathetic wreath of wilting holly and mismatched ribbons and toasted to his own nobility with stolen arbor gold. Disgusting. The very thought of it spilling down his chin makes me gag. But the gods, with their twisted humour, soon provided him a challenge. It was winter solstice eve when two dim-witted iron-born dung-sniffers that fancied themselves pirates, Harren Greyjoy and his equally repulsive sidekick, Ulf, the very same guard who'd inspected our baggage a week prior, no doubt casing the joint, decided to plunder our home. Had I been there, I would have recognised the reeking scoundrels instantly, and had their heads mounted on pikes before they could blink. But alas, I was enjoying the festivities in King's Landing, and dancing with princes, while the imp was left to defend the rock. The irony is almost too rich to bear. Tyrion surprisingly proved more resourceful than a sack of potatoes. He may be nothing more than a lecherous imp, but he's still a Lannister. Harren, bless his simple-minded heart, was the first to fall prey. A tripwire, cleverly disguised with a bit of festive holly, sent a vat of fermented crab crashing down upon him, leaving him looking like he'd lost a wrestling match with a giant squid. Ulf fared no better. He triggered a cascade of suits of armour, clattering like a drunken giant's skeleton. Tyrion had turned Casterly Rock into a labyrinth of booby traps. Corridors became obstacle courses of tripwires and falling objects. Staircases slippery, with substances that would send even a wildling wall climber tumbling. The air filled with the stench of questionable concoctions brewed by the maester, no doubt under duress. It was a chaotic, disgusting, and surprisingly effective defense. The climax of this ridiculous charade arrived when Tyrion, wielding Father's prized miniature crossbow, cornered the whimpering Ironborn in the kitchens. They were surrounded by overturned pots, spilled spices, and enough brine-soaked shellfish to stink out the entire Westerlands. Tyrion, ever the showman, didn't simply capture them. He forced them to confess their crimes, beg for mercy, and swear allegiance to House Lannister, all while covered in Gouda and goose feathers. He even made them sing The Rains of Castamere, though I doubt their off-key caterwauling did the song justice. It was a miserable display, but I must confess, even I found it mildly amusing in the telling. He then generously allowed them to flee, no doubt traumatized for life. The little monster had not only defended Casterly Rock, he'd turned it into the laughingstock of the Iron Islands. When we returned, expecting to be greeted by the sweet scent of pine and winter roses, we were instead met with the overpowering stench of aged cheddar, fermented crab, and something vaguely explosive. It was the end of a grueling journey, and Casterly Rock reeked like a brothel on market day. I believe I rewarded him with a slap. Father's stern voice cut through the stench. He was livid. Not at the Ironborn, mind you, but at Tyrion.
Tyrion, you have turned our ancestral home into a mockery. A Lannister does not defend with cheese and traps. We do so with pride and steel. Although, on second thought, defense seems too generous a word. Disgrace seems more appropriate. This is not how we uphold our dominion.
His disappointment was palpable, like the cold in Winterfell. But Jaime, curse his gentle nature, actually praised the creature.
Well done, little brother,
He told him as he ruffled his hair.
Not many can say they defended Casterly Rock with cheese incrustations.
As if that counts for anything. One stroke of luck does not redeem a lifetime of irritation, nor does it make up for the missed opportunity to solidify our family's standing at court. And let's make one thing perfectly clear. Had I been present, those Ironborn wouldn't have lived to see the sunrise, and Casterly Rock certainly wouldn't have smelled like the aftermath of a particularly rowdy feast hosted by a wild pack of inebriated Starks. And thus, the tale of Tyrion's Christmas alone ends. A pitiful chapter in Lannister history. But I suppose even a stunted creature can have a moment of cunning, albeit one that reeks of cheese and idiocy. Perhaps there's a lesson here, if one can stomach it. Even the smallest of us can find a way to make their mark, though it might only be in the annals of absurdity. And in that brief, stinking moment, Tyrion, in his own grotesque way, reminded us that a Lannister always pays his debts, especially when you're home alone.